Fellow Rotarians, it's my privilege to introduce Turk Guilford, who's going to tell you a little bit about the Growing God's Way program that they have out at the schools. So, thanks.
Kind of what I thought too.
We did forget one thing. Anybody didn't have their badge with them?
I did.
Too late.
Too late.
Got to pay next week, is that it?
Let your conscience be
Yeah.
applied.
Well, anyway, it's my privilege today to speak about growing God's way. I guess the first question I'm going to ask, I think everybody has this there to look through with this. This is our current folder that we come up with, our information sheet for this year. And I guess I'll start out. I know that Rick Straley spoke here about, I think, back when we started, or around the time we started our first year in the fall of 2021. And so, growing God's way, there is a vision. On page 2 there, it talks about it. It's a local vision by community churches to make quality Bible-based education available to all school-age children in Hicksville community. Cooperating with local educators, we plan to provide after-school classes to K through 12 students. Classes are taught by qualified Christian instructors. The curriculum uses Bible stories to teach morals, character, and positive attitudes and behaviors. By teaching biblical principles, discipline, and ethics, the goal is to develop qualities like respect, honesty, courage, truthfulness, kindness, reverence, faith, patience, biblical leadership, and compassion. Our long-term expectations are more productive, equipped, engaged citizenry with lasting connections to Christ and His church. Short-term explanations, which was a lot of this that we talked about, was that we'd have more attentive and involved students in the school and community. Critical for growing God's way to achieve these goals is an emphasis on knowing and following the God of the Bible and a personal growing relationship with God's Son, Jesus Christ. And one of the things that's been nice about this, it's a local interdenominational organization that encourages you to become involved in a local church of their choice. One thing I've noticed that Growing God's Way has done from the beginning and how it started was, I believe, one of the contacts that contacted our churches and people in the community to meet with somebody from LifeWise Academy back, if I remember right, that was about August of 2019, and to see if there would be interest in LifeWise Academy, which was similar to this, but they had a pretty well established program and had already were in several schools. One of the best known ones around here was Van Wert at the time. But they brought the churches together. That first meeting, I think we had representatives from at least 5 or 6 local churches and other people. And so we started talking about meeting, more meetings with churches and stuff to get the information out to people to see about doing something with that. So, and I'll tell kind of how that went into Growing God's Way then. But our vision is to see positive character and spiritual transformation in children at Hicksville through quality Bible instruction and establish and oversee interdenominational Bible instruction for all K-12 students in the community of Hicksville. One of the first questions asked when we were looking at this was, you know, what are we going to do about differences in beliefs with different denominations and stuff like that? And it was pointed out that we're going to focus on what the center of our Christian religion is, and that's Jesus Christ and who He is, God's Son, Him as our Redeemer and Savior. So focus on that for kids that had a church or connected a church, them and their parents. Let them talk about some of the things that might be different between the churches and stuff like that. But for us as a group to focus on the main point of Christianity. So that's kind of how we started. We talked about it then and worked with churches about doing this, and pretty much everybody's interested. We started talking to the school then about this, And one of the things with LifeWise Academy are three main things there. There is state law that provides for what they call release time religious education. And a lot of schools around the area do have a LifeWise program. But with that, obviously, any of these programs, including Growing God's Way, is a volunteer thing to be involved with. With LifeWise, it had to be off campus and no school funding or help from the school other than releasing the kids for classes to go off campus. We talked about, like I say, Methodist school and stuff, and I think that, if I remember right, Keith may need to correct me on that, but the school board and stuff was interested in doing something like this. But about time that we're getting ready to get rolling on that, COVID hit then in the spring of 20. So, and you know what happened there, schools, well, actually schools literally shut down for a while, and so we weren't going to be able to get into schools. So we went through with about another year while COVID took its toll and caused a lot of changes and stuff like that, till we got around to about spring of 2021, and around in that time, in that year spring, why we started looking at this a little more. School decided that they keep the kids very busy, and they just didn't see that they had time to release the kids during the school day. So they offered an alternative to us, that if we wanted to do an after-school program, we could use classrooms for teaching in. Teachers could be involved because it was after school. Also, the schools, the way we ended up doing is we did it Monday right after school, so the students were already there, right at school. They also offered to let us use a bus or buses as needed to take kids home after Growing God's Way if we would pay the bus drivers. So they're willing to help in a lot of ways to make this happen. And the reason we ended up becoming Growing God's Way is because LifeWise Academy was release time. They had a specific program and set rules, and we really couldn't do it as LifeWise Academy, so we came up with the name Growing God's Way. And you can see our logo on the front at the top there. We came up with the late Larry Scranton. Many of us in here knew Larry Scranton just passed away a while back, and he was very instrumental in helping come up with that logo, and many other things. Helped us with a lot all the way through as part of the board, what we call the launch committee, and then kind of that transitioned into the Growing God's Way board. So we had a lot of work to do there. By the time we went into, like I say, as I recall, it's probably around spring of 2021 that we got permission to do this, so we had to get a lot of things ready. I mean, we've been working on it during that year before we were held up, but we were kind of doing some planning and stuff, so had a lot of organizing to do. Part of it was fundraising, and the response to that was very good. Kind of like we expected, but we got great support from the churches, what you tend to think would be, but also from businesses and people throughout the community. I mean, it wasn't uncommon for someone to come up and say, hey, here's some money for Growing God's Way. And some of the people or businesses that we talked to said, I'll donate this. If you need more, come back and let us know. So it's really a broad community support, which was great and has been ever since. And as all of us know, Hicksville is a great community and pretty generous, but the thing that was encouraging about it too is that people all recognized that there was a need for a program like this. So we had to get, all our organizational stuff ready, student and parent applications, release forms, and locate staff. We got help there from Kirsten Kaufman, the elementary school principal. In that summer before school started, she did present this, what we're trying to do to the teachers, and so that if them wanted to be involved, they could be. Obviously, we needed to kind of have things pretty much in place. We were wanting to start early in the school year, so they had to get all these things in place. But had to do background checks, which again, advantages of having teachers is they already had background checks on file. For those that helped that didn't, we had to get background checks. We had to print out brochures. We printed them in English and Spanish so that, as all of you know, we're getting a lot larger Hispanic community there, so we wanted to be able to make this available to all people. Had a pair of student packets to hand out there when school started, organized operating procedures with Mrs. Kaufman, the elementary principal there, and how things would be done when, and so on and so forth. We had to choose a curriculum, which at that time we used a curriculum that we got from Gospel Project. Some of you may have heard of that or not, but they do a lot of educational materials. Lisa Savage was one of the first teachers to step forward and be involved, and she ended up becoming what we call our operations coordinator, where she kind of made sure that if any teachers weren't going to be there, whoever was teaching in class, which fortunately, I think maybe all of our classes, if I remember right, were taught by school teachers. And there's a lot of reasons why I like that, but one reason also is that you have the students for kind of a short period of time. They know how to organize the students. They know the students listen to them fairly well, and they can keep things going, and they're just much better organized at teaching than some other people aren't. Not that there aren't people that aren't teaching, aren't good teachers, but it just helped a lot that way. So if somebody's missing, why she could line up a substitute and handle that. And Rick Straley became the operations director. Normally would have been here today doing this talk, but he couldn't make it. But he kind of like head of our board there, and also so he oversees the whole operation from board meetings to implementation to school. So, and I'd also like to thank the Hicksville Community Service Center. They allowed us to, since we're a nonprofit organization, come under their umbrella as a nonprofit, so they helped us with that and saved us a lot of time and money and help us out. And they've also helped through the years at the end of the year with our, we have totes and stuff that they have in some of the classrooms with craft materials and the materials and different things that we use week to week with the kids. At the end of the school year then, they've allowed us to take it to the service center, store them there. So, Susan, I want to thank you for all the support from the Community Service Center. So anyway, we ended up starting in 2021. Our start date for grades 2 4 was Monday, September 27th. And so what and in kindergarten is going to start about a month later on November 1st. It starts right after school. The kids got out at 3 o'clock. They head down to the commons. We've got people down there with snacks for them, because some of those kids, I don't think have eaten since maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. So a lot of them are pretty hungry by the end of the day. So we give them a snack to start with and get them going. Then they would go together as a group, 1 through 4. They would do like a singing time and stuff, and they do some singing, and there's a lot of hand motions involved that, so kind of got them re-energized with that. And then they went to their individual classes. Each grade level had an individual teacher. Most of them had an aide and possibly even a volunteer, and then they had their individual lessons by grade. That first year, the end date then at that time for the first year in 2022 was April 26th of 2022. We didn't want to go clear to the end of the school year, because by that time of year, baseball starting, there's a lot of other activities taking over that's going to conflict with things that we were doing. So anyway, we had approximately 80 students from K through 4 were registered, and the average attendance was around 70 students that first year. So we were pretty happy with that. We felt like we were off to a good start. During that school year, we bought t-shirts for all the kids in the t-shirts with the Growing God's Way logo on there. Big Christmas time, why we had my glasses on here for a second here, reading my writing. We got, we got the shirts at Christmas time. We got Bibles for the 2nd through 4th grade. And that was, there's a lot of difference between the reading level from kindergarten through 4th grade. So we had to kind of, one of the things we had to work with there is what Bibles we get that would be kind of age appropriate. And that's part of the reason that we went 2nd through 4th grade, because they're kind of just starting to read good, halfway decent about that age. And then we got gifts for the teachers too. When we originally started out, we set a amount that we pay teachers because they were important. This job was important, and we felt like we couldn't just ask people to volunteer. And so we'd set aside and budget a certain amount for teachers, aides and so on, bus drivers to pay. And to this day, nobody that's helped with that program has taken any money. So that has helped us. We did fundraising that first year. It went well, and due to what we saved with the teachers and stuff, it helped us to actually go through about 2 years without having to do any more fundraising. So, God's provided all along the way. So many people have seen the need and importance that they've been willing to donate their time, and again, that's encouraging. It means a lot to us and to the students that they do that. Got bracelets for the teachers, so we've tried to do things for the teachers also, and those people have helped because they've been generous that way in what they're doing. We did have an end-of-the-year meeting that first year with the teachers to kind of get their assessment on what we were doing on the curriculum we're using, how things are going, and ways that we might be able to improve the program. And some of those ways were, they suggested after that first year, they suggested that maybe we end the program about a week or two earlier the next year, because they were seeing a great decline that last week or two due to baseball and different things going on in the spring and people being outside more and stuff. So, so we looked at that. They talked about maybe doing something with a little more crafts and stuff, so it'll help keep the kids focused more, and a little more hands-on. And then we also talked to maybe doing something a little different with the curriculum. The curriculum we chose kind of started out in the Old Testament and kind of worked through there, so we didn't get into any New Testament stuff. So we decided to maybe look for something to mix that up a little bit, and also something where we could integrate what we're talking about in the Bible with Christmas and Easter, which obviously are important times with the Christian church. So in preparation, we also then that year we got some nice chamber gift certificates. We decided that since as a community supported stuff like that, as a gift for the teachers and those who were involved, we got chamber gift certificates, so they could use it, have a variety of places to use it, and then also support businesses and stuff and people that supported the program. So based on then starting in and getting ready then for the 2022-23 school year, it's kind of like Keith's year doesn't really end. Things are different after the kids get out of school, but you still got a lot of work to do in the summertime to get ready for the next school year, and so we did too. So we made several changes based on some of the end-of-year assessments from the teachers, and we investigated, switched to a little different curriculum. We chose from a curriculum called Grow Kids curriculum. We set out some different books of the Bible to study with so many weeks in each one, and then we picked and chose from those to integrate it into what we wanted to do. And we're also then, by doing that, we chose some so we'd be in part of the time we've been in the Old Testament, part of the time the New Testament. Then we also separated, one of the suggestions was separate the worship time, the first and second graders from the third and fourth. Break them into smaller groups, so of course then we had to have one more music teacher to help do the other class, so we separated them that way. And then we also decided to end the classes on April 10th and try to have some kind of nice party or end-of-year celebration for the kids then, for the end of the year. So other changes that we worked into, we started working on talk to the school, I think in particular Mrs. Hoffman there with the school library, about donating some books to the library. that they didn't have on a variety of subjects and authors. You know, some of them, you know, one was about George Washington. I mean, there are different ones. Some are history. A lot of them spiritually things. Some of them were mystery writers and stuff like that. But a variety of things that we thought would be good reading to make available for the students. And what we ended up doing with that is we had Mrs. Huffman look at a list that we'd suggested. She let us know what they already had, and then kind of approved others. I think we ended up donating about around 30, 32, 33 books to the library then for the reading for the students. And so we started again about the third week of September on the Monday the 26th for 2022, again kindergarten. About a month later. The reason we did that because kindergartners just coming to school, getting used to school and their routine. Since it's all totally new to them, we wanted to give them an opportunity to kind of get settled into their routine before we started this. And we also, in our second year, were able to get together. We got permission from the middle school administration to start a middle school program. As we talked about in the beginning, when we talked about what we wanted to do, it was to provide this for K through 12. I don't think in the beginning we really had any idea how fast we were going to try and move that through that program, but we were able to get permission, and so I moved into middle school last year for grades 5 through 8. So but we had to do something different there because at that age there's, you know, some, especially those in junior high, got junior high sports to choose from. So we decided to meet from 7:15 on Tuesday mornings to 7:45. So we'd get to school at 7:15, at 7:45 they'd be done and heading to classes. So we were able to use Coach Smith's room. We knew that probably, you know, not everybody, and especially it seems like young kids don't like to get up any earlier than necessary, so we brought some type of drinks and snacks for those kids to have in middle school. So they'd at least have something for breakfast if they hadn't taken time for breakfast. We found that Capri Suns were pretty popular for a drink, and people had everything from Amish cracked, fried pies, to breakfast bars and stuff like that. If any of you don't know what Amish crack is, I'm guessing most people in here do. It's those, what is it, rise and rolls and stuff like that, and they are good. But wasn't able to get those all the time. So, and what we did then is we got to, what's that? Yeah, we got the churches to agree that different churches a month at a time would provide the drinks and snacks for the kids. So that rotated around that way, and that's how we did that. A.J. Swanson, which a lot of you in here would know, pastor of Cornerstone Church, has a passion for about that age level, junior high, so he took over and he helped lead that. We decided to go ahead and meet, separate the boys and the girls in a study of Matthew, so we were able to talk freely. We did that. So we had several teachers help with that. AJ did led the boys. Vicki Gatchell, some of them you know, grew up in Hicksville. She did the girls, and each of them then had some help with that. So we moved into that, and then you know, they would do questions. They'd read a Bible passage, and then they'd have questions that they'd ask and talk about that to discuss that. Our attendance last year from 22 to 23. K through 4, we had 87 registered, averaged 80 a week in attendance. So we had some increase there, which we're happy to see. We found that K through 12 was a significantly different participation in 3rd and 4th. 3rd and 4th get to a point where they're getting a little more things to do and stuff, so it's a little bit harder to pull them in. 5 through 8, we had 16 registered and averaged about 11 per week. So we'd love to see more, but we felt good about that. We had a good group of kids there, and they took it serious and enjoyed it, had fun. So that was good. And then we bought Bibles for kindergarten that year. We bought the Bibles for the junior high kids also to do their studies there. So we had a big event at the year end, as we wanted to plan. We had Lamar Yoder, a Christian juggler, come there on April 17th. The last class was on the 10th, the week before, and then the week after we had that kind of a celebration. He did a school assembly at 2 in the afternoon for K through 8, and 5 to 6 he did a program with a gospel presentation at the school. So And the PTO contributed $300 towards that event. So if you've had events, there's been organizations that have donated extra money and stuff to have them happen. So we wrapped up again, met with the teachers and stuff after the last class. Got the material store for the year, got, again, gift certificates for the teachers, and I went on for there. So now we're into our third year, 2023, 2024 school year. There was a little bit of interest, so we went ahead and we moved, moving into high school. We're doing that right now by combining, since we didn't have big numbers in junior high, combining junior high with high school and to work that out there. One reason I think it's been good to move through like we had is it's hard to get these kids interested and give them a gap of a year or two because you don't have it for that grade. And so we've got kids who were 8th graders last year, so what do they move into then? So that's part of the reasons that pushed that to go, so we want to kind of keep them involved if they want to. So we've done that. So when we worked on all that, one thing that really helped us here with that, we talked to Kirsten Kaufman. They have tables at the school open houses. There's during Fair Week, 2 nights that they have tables for the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Might have been some other organizations. And so we asked Mrs. Kaufman if we could have a table there. And she said yes right away and said, tell me what you need. So she had a table for us set up. And we purchased a banner for that, a Growing God's Way banner, a nice big banner with a tablecloth hanging over our table and stuff like that. Rick Straley did use that one day at the fair. We were able to work with somebody's booth to help with that. But when I walked in the first Tuesday night for the open house, I saw a lot of activity to the right down that hallway, and things were kind of dead to the left, and our table was way down there where it didn't seem like much was happening. But I thought, wow, maybe we didn't get the best location, but found out that she gave us the best location because as things happened that night, there's a table on down there where the parents had to pick up their numbers that they hang in the cars for picking up their students, and pretty much everybody went there. So it backed up near our table, able to talk to a lot of people. So we're moving on, getting started with that. That's pretty much brings you up to speed. We did send out letters to all the supporters we had over the years. We're looking for donations. That's been going well. They can always use a little more. So with that, I'll end. I don't know if there's any questions. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for their support, for their prayers, any financial support, any way they help Growing God's Way.